You ready? Hi everyone, I'm Kat.
Derek.
So today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we've done before. So far we've been either staying in place or turning in a circle, and today we're going to kind of stop the momentum a little bit and do something called a catch and release, a throw out, or in other dances it's called a crossbody lead. So before, when we went from open position to closed position, it was the gentleman's role to walk in and close the gap. Now this time, we're going to start this step by teaching you how the leader is going to ask the follower to come in and close the gap.
Right. So originally we tried to teach, essentially there was no sort of lead to move her anywhere. I just relaxed my lead to walk in, and I kind of relaxed my lead to walk out. So it didn't really give her a direction to turn or move. So now what I'm going to do is, as we're doing our basic, I'm going to ask her, I'm going to invite her to move forward to me. And then I can just do my basic, and then I can kind of send her out just casually. So it's just a very light lead or encouragement to come in. I can drop the hand, I can hold my hand to be in a better frame, so I can kind of rotate it and shift it into this position. That would kind of give her a signal also that we're going to stay in closed position. And then I might send her out, and then rotate my hand back to kind of keep that as we're going to do something else now. So that's the kind of just getting her to come in. We're now going to bring that into a little bit of a difference, where we're going to be doing a move different in terms of our body spacing. Right now, a lot of what we've done have been parallel or open frame, so it doesn't matter. We're now going to introduce something that's going to be more perpendicular, where I'm going to invite her in, and then instead of her being equal to me, I'm going to rotate her so that way I'm here and she's here.
So let's just show you what it looks like. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do one basic. We go side, side, tap, forward, side, tap. Here's a perpendicular moment, and then I'm going to send her back out. Just kind of rewind everything we just did. Ba, da, da.
So if we break it down, the footwork is exactly the same as what we've been doing. I'm going forward, and slightly turning, and I'm feeling that he wants me to turn by this hand. He's actually pulling me in, and then he is pushing me out, and because my arm is connected to my body, it makes me turn. So he's giving me the direction that he wants me to turn with this hand. And so my footwork is, we're still doing step, step, tap, but
Here, you can come this way this time.
But I'm going forward. As I'm taking the next step, I feel that he is turning me, and so my step is going to be kind of sideways, and then I'm going to pivot on it as he's turning me, so that I'm going to be facing the opposite way of that I started, 180 degrees.
Because I would be here.
Right?
And so just for leaders, what this is called a J turn. Because what I'm doing is I'm pulling the long end of a J and then turning. So essentially I'm drawing a J with my lead. I pull her in, and then I do the J.
Yeah. And let's actually go this way.
Yeah,
It'll be a little bit easier. So here, stepping, turning, and then it's much more comfortable for me to do the tap behind myself than rather to the side because of my momentum. So I just do a tap to the side.
And then essentially we're just rewinding. We're doing the same thing in reverse. I'm going to pull, and then inverse of the J, kind of push to kind of send her out a little bit. Not too far, just a little bit. And so here, for the leaders, I can't stay here. My first step, as I'm pulling her in, I'm stepping to the side. Because what that does is that if I'm kind of like equal-ish to her right now, that she sees me moving out of the way. So she knows that she's either going to pass straight by me or she's going to stop with me. So I'm going to step forward, and as I turn to the side a little bit, I then step side with her as I'm giving her the encouragement to move, to turn. I catch her with this right arm, and we go tap. And then same thing, I'm going to give a little bit of encouragement here. And then I recenter to her here. And that's that.
Yeah, perfect. So that's it's called a catch and release or catch and
Throw or yeah.
Or cross body lead, because I'm moving across his body. So in this position, when I'm here, I'm going to be moving across the width of his body.
Yep.
So it's called a cross body lead.
Yep, and this arm is softly catching the follower. I'm not like stopping her in a specific spot. If she just has a momentum, I'm kind of allowing this hand to drift backwards a little bit to kind of just support her and comfort her. And then a little bit of a push, perhaps slight nudge to go that way. But it's mainly this hand that's controlling the direction and rotation.
Yeah, and another thing to point out also for the leaders is that if you bring your girl in and you don't actually take her across your body, but you turn her towards you, I'm not going to be able to move forward. So
Good
you
point.
have to take that arm that's behind my back and lead me to go straight, and then I can unwind.
Super good point. Yeah. Yeah. From here, she goes forward, then turns back. So it's even though I was saying it's kind of rewinding it, it's not quite true, because here she goes forwards, then turn. She goes forwards, then turn. So both times it's directional, then rotation, and as she returns, it's directional and rotation. So now we're going to add a complication to that, or a nuance, or a special little way of ending it. We're going to just add in an underarm turn. So we're going to do the same first half, where I'm going to invite her in. We do our basic. I invite her in. And then from here, we're going to be doing an underarm turn, where I'm going to be taking this hand and encouraging quickly a rotation, but I'm also going to be stepping a little bit out of the way. I go rotation, she finishes, tap. So we're going to pull her in again, connect her, and then rotation. That's all I do. She has to talk about the rest.
Yeah, this is not an easy turn, ladies. Before, our turns have been walking turns or stepping turns, where we step and turn. This one, you're kind of doing it all at the same time. So when I'm in this position, I know that he's asking for an inside turn because he has lifted his hand a little bit higher, and he's going to be pulling me this way. So you know how we talked about before that we wanted the guy to give us a forward momentum? Well, now he's not giving us a forward momentum, he's giving us a winding momentum. So he's taking this hand, and we're turning again, and then we're stepping. So before on 2, we always wanted to see our guy. This turn is complicated because you're not going to spot him until 3, until you're actually doing the tap. So you're still turning on 2,
Right.
which is a little bit more complicated. So from here, we're going step, step, and then as soon as you see him, you do the tap.
Right. And now, same thing, because she's not directionally moving and then turning, she's going to move right in front of you. So guys, don't step this way. You're going to get clocked or tripped or anything. So you want to make sure that as you encourage that lead of a rotation, you're going to actually step almost behind you or right next to, behind that foot. So what that does is that opens my torso out of her way, so it gives her all of this space to turn. I then finish by connecting to her, so that way she has a very solid spot of where I am.
And the last thing to note for this, ladies, and don't do this, do this slowly, learn. This is not an easy turn. Another thing that'll help is something called spotting. So when he turns me, I'm spotting in my forward direction. As he turns me again, I'm kind of advancing, spotting, and then at the very end, I'm spotting him. Otherwise, if you're not really focused on where your eyes or where your head is, you're kind of gonna get whipped around and lose your balance a little bit. So spotting helps you find your center.
Yeah, so don't even worry about timing, just practice this first, kind of like where your arms are, where your legs are, and then eventually speed up to dancing it.
So the next evolution of the catch and release or the throw out is going to be, we're going to be doing a continuous throw out.
Right.
So it starts the same. So we're going to do our basic 1, 2, tap. He's going to take me into the crossbody lead position, and he's going to do, we're going to be doing the same exact footwork as a regular throw out. It's just this time he's going to follow us.
Correct. So before I talk about it, I'm just going to show you it. It's easier. So what I'm going to do is I send her, and then I step into her, I cross, and then I tap. So one more time, I send her, I follow her, and tap. And so that's kind of the idea, is I'm initiating momentum that I'm not even really doing yet. I'm inviting her to move, and then that's kind of like I'm trying to hold on to that energy. I follow that energy, and then I tap.
Yeah, it's almost like you imagine, to me, it's kind of like I'm wearing like a cape or something, and then he waits for the cape to start moving, and then he trails the end of it. It's a little bit of a I go first, and then he kind of catches up. Right.
So that's actually a good point. A lot of times, the rotation or the angle of the lead is at the exact same time. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate the lead and then move. So I'm doing kind of a she-me. And so it's a slight offsetting of time, but that prevents, or that allows her to move, then me to move, and have that space that we don't collide.
Right. So if you'll notice, ladies, my footwork is exactly the same as if I was doing a single or a continuous. So if we do a single, just to focus on my little feetsies, I'm going to go. We're going to do that again. So my footwork is the same. Now watch when we do a continuous one.
She's now.
Right. My footwork doesn't change. The only thing is, he's following me.
I could make this a continuous, and I can keep on following her until we decide to do something else. So the original version is essentially, I catch her, I follow her once, and then I send her out. But I can catch her, I can follow her once, I can follow her twice. I could keep on doing this if I wanted to. Just that continuous, not looping, but just continuous throwouts until I actually send her out to a release.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna put complicated on top of complicated. So we're gonna add that kind of complicated turn, the inside turn, to a continuous throwout.
So we're gonna do the inside turn within the continuous throwout, right?
Throwout.
Right. Okay. So just demo one first.
Sure.
I catch, and so at this moment, and yeah, it's easier just to show you and then talk about it.
Okay. So this is gonna be tricky because, ladies, you're a little bit blind as to where your leader is when he takes you into this inside turn or inside roll. So when he asks you for it, you kind of know that he's there because you still feel his hand on your back. So as he's asking you to take that roll, a really important thing to do is to take your arm up to then put it down, because if you don't, it's really uncomfortable. So you can do a couple of different ways. You can do it as he's turning you, or you can do it a little bit later, let your arm carry across your body and then lift it up and over. The most important thing to do is when you are lifting your arm, do not lift your elbow because you will cluck him. So the important thing to do is to lift up your elbow so it's really close to your face so there's no problem with...
Because I'm over here.
Right. So if you lift up your elbow, this is what's going to happen. So you want to bring it up close to your face and then over. So if we do this really slow-mo...
Other side. There you go. Slow-mo. Down. Down.
So he's turning me. I'm taking that hand, and then as this one is lowering, this one is going up to then go over. And in this way, nobody gets hurt.
Yes, I like that part. You've seen me kind of do this a couple time leads. It's very similar to just tying in all pieces we've already talked about. First, again, initiate the rotation, and then step into her after she passes you. And key thing is, as I do a catch, I normally catch a follower high. Here, I'm going to rotate a little bit in this angle. I normally catch a follower high. You know, my connection and support is right here, but I need to, as I'm doing this move, very specifically drop that connection to her waist because I'm going to be holding a connection to her. So I'm going to, as I initiate the rotation, drop it down. This allows me to do kind of like that waist roll. I then can regain it high here or keep it low as a tap. And then I again encourage just the throw or the release. Yeah, da, da. So, key thing for the leaders is drop that hand down, waist roll, kind of keep that connection to her along the waist, and let her pass and then sneak in right after her and then regain that right hand connection.
Right, and let's just show it to you just normal speed this way, right? So bring it in, turn, and if you'll notice, my hand, even though I'm finished with this step, my hand is not down yet. My hand only goes down when I know where he is. Otherwise, I'm going to clock him in the head anyway. So when he does this turn, this hand goes over, this hand goes up. We're basically finished, but my hand is still up, and then only then does it drop.
Right. And leaders, kind of a nuance that might be perhaps going wrong when you're practicing this is that I don't have to, best way of showing this would be this way. This way? Yeah. So if you look at kind of the angles of what's happening, is she's going to move from this side to this side of me. And then as I'm doing this move, I'm kind of just changing rails or tracks. So I'm not trying to jump over onto her track or even try to get as far as she is. She is actually the farthest this way and the farthest this way. I'm mainly just inviting her to cross by me, and then I hop onto the other side of the track on this side. I'm not trying to get over all the way to her.
So he's not traveling as much as you would imagine.
That's the proper word for it, yes. I'm just kind of jumping to the other side and keeping her over there and giving her space so as she has room for those arms.
Yeah, perfect. And then so we'll try all those to music?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, bringing her in, just basic connection. I could do a basic and sending her out. And now we're going to do just a catch and release or catch and throw out. One more continuous. All right, and now continuous with inside turn. So, just one finalized note I noticed as I was kind of demoing that to music is there are going to be times that I'm kind of, because I'm initiating her first, I'm going to actually almost not even have enough time perhaps to tap sometimes because I'm saying, you go, and then I'll catch up. So don't worry about really kind of emphasizing anything here. If you have to just collect and then go again because the beat's a little bit ahead of you, that's normal because of how we offset and say go, go.
And so know what you're comfortable with. A lot of these moves are going to, especially the ones that we add on to this, are going to be a little bit tricky. So don't worry about it. It takes time. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of arms. So do what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with just the basic throw out, do that. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. You don't have to get complicated until you're ready to.
Yeah. Inside turn is more advanced. So really just practice continuous throwouts. Get comfortable with that. Then try the inside turns and the arms.
Right, exactly. We'll see you next time.
Bye.